Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we're back to LEGO City Undercover. Let's continue. Alright, so where were we going? I guess we were going up here. Would be my guess, and then to get these super bricks. I have to remind myself I've slept since the last recording and had to stream a couple hours too, so yeah. Where are we? We are right on the edge of Uptown. Alright, good to know. So, the way this seems to look like it's gonna break down is if I was here, right on the edge of this. Can I get to this? Yes. But that doesn't actually help me in any way. Boy, when you get right up to that poster, that is really, really bad graphically. So it must be that I need to come over here first and then get to the edge. Some of this looks like it started off being Lego and then ended up not being Lego. While we're over here, let's spin around in a circle and see what we missed. Yeah, there's a firmer challenge over in that direction also. And I guess we're mostly trying to maintain the Uptown area. Well, we might as well start there. Man, there is definitely something wrong with either the frame rate, because I've turned off vertical sync, and then that is somehow affecting the game's physics, which it honestly shouldn't. Or it just has to do with the fact that you're playing as the rocket people. Or the game is just badly designed, because the angles here are pretty sharp, and I feel like any other LEGO game would have made a special effort to not have it turn at such sharp angles when you're trying to land on anything. But we've seen a lot of that in this game. We've seen lots of instances where you just fall, you just jump in the wrong direction, you fall in the wrong way, and there's no real telling whether it's my fault for just being a bad game player or whether it's someone else's fault for being a bad game designer. And we know that this building, pretty much every building, not every building, but every sector has one building that is just really, really tall. And I don't know if it boils down to you're supposed to, in some instances, get in the helicopter and jump out of the helicopter, which I'm not even certain is something we can do. That has been my last bit of hope, is that I will find some helipads. I will find a place where I fast travel to the helipad, and then that will allow me to have a way of getting to some of these really, really tall buildings. If that's not the case, then who knows? Like, just in all seriousness, who even has a clue? And see, this is the airport section we've walked into, so I've wandered too far in this direction. And if I start doing the airport section, which is in all fairness where I want to go next, it is going to take me throughout that entire area. So let's see if we can make a decision here. Uptown Museum, yes, we've gotten everything because we've done everything in all the levels. My left and right bumps have stopped working again. Alright. What are we missing? We're missing a fast travel in this area, and that's kind of it. It really isn't worth it to continue down this path in Uptown. We'll just hope we can find a fast travel section and a helipad in the airport section. Right. Before we go any further, let's just scan to make sure there's nothing around here. There is something there, so we'll mark that. And then this was just designed to fly into the shark's mouth. And we were able to cheat that, so we didn't need to do that. Anyways, let's see. Clearly we have a silver thing that needs to be blown up. So, where's our pickaxe guy? And as we're standing here, like the vast majority of things are over in that airport. There's a ticket machine. That's the fast travel. So we want to get that as a high priority. That way, in case we steal a car or do one of the car stealing missions, that we don't end up having a hassle. Oh man, that is awful. There's no way I'm getting back up after this. Oh, thank goodness. Thank goodness there was a ramp there. That was going to be a nightmare scenario. Alright. There's a mountain in the background. Or two. It wouldn't have been difficult in my mind, and maybe I'm wrong about this, but it feels like it would be really simple to, at the very least, have the background sky dome that we're seeing here, sections that you really can't see or reach. That could have been made in Lego form. There's really no excuse for it not to be made in Lego. It's pretty easy design, and it's something that wouldn't have had to been particularly detailed. Problem with the airport is getting in the airport, I guess, more than anything. I don't know if what I'm doing right now actually will allow me in the airport, or if I'm just Can I jump in the O? No. So these letters are blocking me, but they are also, there we go. Even jumping in the sea doesn't get me high enough. And we're up. Let's go ahead and assume that there's something around here that will let you up to the top, since there's a helicopter section there. Right. If I step there, it jumps over. If I get anywhere close to that, it gets in the way. I'm just ever so slightly too short. Alright, let's try this then. Nope. Nothing's gonna stop me. And it's not a helicopter point, it's a control tower, which is nice. It's nice that something's built out of Lego. And then this unlocks a time trial free run, which gives us something else to do. Now, in all honesty, unlocking the free run probably would have been a fine point for the game to force me to fast travel to where the free run is. And then I could have just done the free run, ended up where I was, and moved on to the next thing. And I kind of wonder about some of this stuff. So, way over there, that blue line pretty much is the next section of the city. We've got super bricks, super bricks, super bricks. We've got fire to put out. And then when we start, another super brick, and then a time trial, and then the color gun, another super brick. We tried to get some of these for sure, but yeah, there's a lot. There's also a police challenge and a super brick over there, and from the looks of it, that's pretty much all this section is. It seems like it is just the airport and only the airport, which, okay, that should work pretty well. Just jump down and follow the marker. And switch to our guy and take a coffee break. So I really hadn't focused or done anything in the airport area, and if they don't give me a helipad in this area, then this is probably the worst area in the game. That would be my guess, as far as how this will all work itself out. Let's see. Let's go ahead and get this pig. Why I only have one heart when riding a pig is an interesting question. Because I still have the invincibility on. I haven't changed any settings since last recording. The game has just been sitting here. I kind of wish the country music would just play all the way through, like throughout the entirety of this game. I don't think I'm ever gonna hear the entire song, and I don't know if there's any like supplemental credits. We probably saw credits when we beat story mode the first time, and I probably talked over it, and it's been so long that I don't even remember if that actually occurred or not. But I'm fairly certain the country music did not play. I think it's kind of fairly obvious this is not going to let me reach it, so I suspect the way that's going to break down is in several different ways. I want to run this direction. We know there's a police action here. We know there's a super brick a little bit further than there. So we grab this first. Switch to the police. Do listen.
Hello, this is Captain Edward Hawthorne, and I'll be your bus driver for today.
Terrible
We'll be cruising to the other side of the
I'm
terminal
sure.
at a height of 0 feet. Our journey time is expected to be just under 3 minutes, and the weather at our destination is exactly the same as it is here. In the event of any turbulence, simply fasten your seatbelts until I remember how to drive stick shift.
Oh, wow, Carl, that was the best holiday ever. The sun, the sea, the sand, it was just perfect.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry you missed the flight and had to sleep in the airport for a fortnight because I had the house keys. But look, I brought you a t-shirt.
Go kick down your own door if you
Hello, sir.
don't
Have you
house
anything
keys.
to declare? No. Your luggage doesn't contain any illegal fruit or vegetables? Nope. You got me. There might be an elephant in there.
Would a
That's
Mr.
really loud.
Gareth Stinky please report to the departure lounge? You aren't late for your flight. We just wanted to ask you if that's your real name.
Yep, terrible lines of dialogue, terrible jokes.
Gabe! You've been away too long! How was your holiday?
Oh, man, you know how they say a change is as good as a rest? It is true. Spending a year in Brick County Jail instead of Albatross Island Prison really recharged my batteries.
That's great, man. So, have you got any gifts for us in your bag there?
So I guess
No
it's
idea.
Brick
I just stole
County
this off
in
the
LEGO
luggage
City.
carousel.
Nice. Ooh, and that gives me an idea. How about we head over to the airport cargo sheds and take some stuff?
Sheesh. Straight back to work, huh?
Okay, where does it want me to go? It just opened some kind of doorway for me. I guess this is the direction I'm supposed to be running. I have 40 seconds to reach it. I see a purplish hue in that direction. The yellow arrow is actually pointing at the thing I scanned earlier. So let's get to the police outfit.
Come on! There's gotta be some valuables here!
These incidences are poorly designed, to say the least. Like the fact that they have to be in just kind of generically small areas and constricted areas is weird.
Aw, no!
These guys are too far away.
Out of my way! Stop in the name of the law! Oh, come on!
Like, I'm not sure if I could have shot that guy or not. I had the angle all differently. It does seem like there's something right here. We should probably go investigate that. Interesting. What is this? 2 of 5. Little devil-esque things. And then some micro stuttering for good measure. I wonder if it really is just the cars. Like, how well would this game potentially run if cars were just not in it? Of course, it would be weird, certainly. But, you know, you might be able to fix it by reducing the number of cars to a considerably smaller amount. That might be one move. Or pre-programming cars to just go in loops and not have any AI at all, so they just get hit and crashed and knocked over if you crash into them, if the player crashes into them, and otherwise they are ignored completely. If you did something like that, there is a decent chance that most players would not even recognize that that was what was happening. I find it rather reasonably believable that if everything was just scripted, just a car appears at this point, it drives to another point and goes in circles, and that's how a lot of games have worked in the past, and with no concern or consideration for what anybody else is doing. Whereas these cars definitely feel like they are making this attempts to have AI in behind each driver, which you just don't need that. You really don't. You don't need to waste a CPU's processing power to have intelligence behind random passerbys in a game. And I imagine this is something that creators of games like GTA learned rather quickly, is that it doesn't make sense to try and program for in a AI perspective way. Well, what is this going to be? Is this going to be a place where you summon planes or cars? It's just a standard call-in point. And look how it's visually glitching, and there's a glowing platform. Oh no, apparently maybe it's just a second call-in point. Is this really a second call-in point? No, it's a loop-de-loop. Just looked like a call-in point. Now the last loop-de-loop we did had something collectible in the top of it, and this one does too, so we'll have to summon a vehicle and we'll drive. Let's see. Just instant summon a vehicle. It, in a weird way, is more realistic compared to how you would actually play with Legos. It is more realistic. The cars would not really have any automation to them or drive around when the kid themselves is not moving cars around. So a bunch of stationary cars, while not realistic to the real world, is pretty realistic to the experience you would have playing with Legos. Any of the adults that have giant Lego cities, their cars are not driving around by themselves. There is a small bit of automation you can do. There's some third-party things you can put on trains to make them kind of go in circles. The big difference, of course, there being a train is a thing on a track, and thus is a thing that goes in circles no matter what anyways, which makes it very easy. But as for official LEGO products, I don't think there's anything that automates the train going forward. You could certainly do it, but the batteries would die pretty quickly. You could do it with just official LEGO pieces, certainly, yeah. But the recommended way they always say to do it is to use a controller of some sort, depending on which generation you're talking about, that allows for the batteries to not drain immediately. And that's one of the big splits between a LEGO train set, which looks nice, and in comparison man, they really didn't bother to game test a lot of this. A LEGO train set compared to a just regular Christmas train set. There's our helipad. So I guess it will be a matter of opinion, just how easy will it be to come into this area and summon a helicopter whenever I need it. Well, we'll have to find out how easy that is or how difficult that is. And I have to zoom in pretty far here to see if there's a chance of anything. That's a disguise token. And it seems to me like everything else from where I'm standing. There's something. That's a robber challenge. So we're going to have to do that robber challenge, which means we're going to have to work our way back up here. Where does this take us? Just there. Where the pig was. Alright. Well, we don't need to do anything with that. Let's run this way and hope we didn't go too low. We may have gone too low. There's a teleportation thing. So, where does one teleport? Let's see what this does. Just drops us right down there. This is a great example of them having probably a contractually obligated number of collectibles. Like having 305 minifigs sounds like they probably were contractually obliged to have at least 300. Having 120 vehicles sounds like they picked a number that seems reasonable. Having 450 gold bricks totally feels like a contract obligation more than something that just came naturally. And you can totally tell that when you run into scenarios like this where there's 3 different things in the same place and you only had to do one relatively simplistic platforming maneuver to get those 3 different things. It's just not it's just not entertaining to be handed things when you don't feel like you really deserve them. It's not entertaining to be handed multiple things when you feel like you maybe deserved only one thing. And it oddly has this effect of not only making things feel unearned and unenjoyable, it has this effect of making things just feel straight up bad. Wonder what that teleporting does. We gotta stand here. That's a police thing. They still have a decent number of things to do otherwise. And all you have to do is get on the edge, and once you're on the edge, you're perfectly fine. This is gonna be a weird drill thrill section. And yeah, we're probably approaching 17 billion. I'm hoping that there's not anything back that way. We have a minute and 12 seconds to do all of this. And then I guess the idea was I was supposed to climb up here. Hit that, across that, and that. That was an odd layout for sure, but I don't know if I'd call it particularly bad. Like, doing something a little weird there, at least spiced it up. And I believe, well, find that we can, if I can make it through this door. Come over here, and let's just look over here and see if we missed anything. It doesn't seem like we did. So free race, that thing seems like what we need to get. Where is this free race gonna end? Seems like it's gonna end up in this area somewhere. So it's gonna start in that area somewhere. Well, this is interesting. There's a box there, but I have no clue where the box would be. Can see another time trial over here. Way through that. Alright, well, let's do this. Start. 3, 2, 1, go. Alright. So we gotta follow the rules somewhat to get the 4 time clocks, which I feel like I might have missed one. There's 3. Am I supposed to be going this way? I feel like I missed something here. Okay. And where am I supposed to go now because I'm out of time? Like, clearly there's supposed to be something easier to start with, so I've missed that part. So we'll do this, and then we'll come over here, and we'll grab this, and then like that. Now, I don't think there is a good way to get up this, so this is probably the best move. Over, under, over, under, over. That's 4 out of 4. So it's probably this direction that I was supposed to follow. Ah, so now I know how you're supposed to get to the top of that. And that unlocks Skater Girl, which they might as well just call her Skater Girl instead of giving her a name, since none of the named characters matter. Seriously, is there anything left? I guess we could shoot around and see if we can find something. There's that car stealing mechanic. There's a time trial again up here. Let's see what that is, because we kind of know that the time trial would put us back where we were. No, the time trial is not there. At least isn't yet. So when we look at this map, there's one super brick, one time trial left. The car stealing and the police capturing, there's one super boulder, but otherwise we've kind of rather quickly finished all of the airport area, which is great, but it is going to leave us in this weird position where every area is going to probably have 1 or 2 things left, and we're going to have to struggle to find a way to those 1 or 2 things. Meanwhile, it'd probably be a little bit easier to get in a helicopter than to do this car thief thing. We'll see. This is gonna be a break-in from the top scenario. I don't see any way in here. We'll see what this does. That's weird. So the marker's in the wrong place? I have to assume that's the case. We've got this rugged car. Nope, don't abandon challenge. You know what we'll do? We'll just drive backwards. We'll drive backwards and pick up the character token in the car. This is at least taking us in a different direction, which is nice, but I imagine this won't do anything too different. Every single one of these challenges feels like they should have had us drive through a loop-to-loop, through a car jump, do something crazy, and it really does not happen. On top of that, if we're going to get the achievement where we do several ramp jumps in a taxi car with a passenger, that feels like we won't ever be able to do that inside of via a unlocked vehicle. We'll just have to commandeer a taxi. Meanwhile, our music stopped playing for no reason, and now we're moving so fast that you can see it's just like all a blur graphically on the edges, and I'm sure that's to help with the rendering, not to make it visually look different or interesting. So we're returning this back to this area, which I don't think that there's never did figure out what this BTS logo is. It looks like a Cartoon Network logo, like some internal department of Cartoon Network, and I know TT Fusion made cartoon, like Looney Tunes style games before, so I assume it has something to do with that. Oh, here's a time trial. We might as well, while we're here, might as well take the opportunity to take a time trial. 3, 2, 1, go. These boat time trials are probably the easiest ones, and assuming one does not go the absolute wrong direction. No telling where this is going to end up landing me, though. Shoot. It's too hard to turn around here. So all I could try to do is turn around at the end. You can definitely feel this is not like play tested for a little kid. Like extremely sharp turn here, but they've been easy to miss and really hard to recover from. A lot of things to crash into here that without the extra ability to knock things out of the way would have been difficult. Putting this right on the edge. So then I have to turn around and make a loop. This feels a lot more like something that you would have in a real racing game if you were going to try and make a full 100% focused LEGO racing game, and I don't think too many people would really want to play that. Honestly, this might end me in the perfect position to start another race. Seriously? Look how difficult that is. No, I can't. And I'm stuck, so I've got to retry that challenge again. Just because I got stuck on the sand. This is unacceptable. Unacceptably difficult. And honestly, for a kid's game, I don't think the idea here is that you want it to be difficult. Seems like it also randomizes the boats that are in the way, but it guarantees there will be a boat in the way every time. Remember, there's no bursting here, so I can't hit X and all I get is a buzz when I try. So yeah, this is dull. This is not what a kid would want to do. This is frustrating to have to try 3 times. I'm just gonna have to slow down incredibly slow because there's only this small narrow area I could have made it through. While this chase sequence is kind of pretty, this probably would have done better as a cutscene or maybe even quick time events. Like I don't want to be a person to encourage people to do quick time events, but in this instance I think quick time events might have been the right move. Just press left, press right, prove that you somewhat know what you're doing, perhaps make it an unfailable sequence anyways. I believe in this area there's another time trial right over here. When I was in this area I was kind of avoiding them, but really can't avoid anything anymore. Where am I supposed to be going? Good news is I do have boost, and with this vehicle I think I'm gonna need it, but I'll have to be careful too. Let's see, 20 seconds to get through such a narrow opening, and then through another narrow opening, and through here. Guess I'm back on the road now. They seem to be actively encouraging reckless driving in this instance. Am I going the right direction? Somewhat. But they gave me a very large vehicle here with very narrow streets. This is way more difficult than it should be. And then the music just cuts off again. To silence. An abrupt cut off of the music when we cross a certain threshold, it seems. And micro stuttering in the jump. And get through the trees.
My car insurance is gonna skyrocket.
And notice that he didn't say any lines of dialogue up until this point, so one random line of dialogue and then another random line of dialogue seems inconsistent. Alright, we've got 19 seconds to straighten up, because if I don't straighten up, there's no way I'm gonna make it. This is showing me a lot of shortcuts, though. A lot of shortcuts that you won't ever use. Except for maybe in this race. Let's see. Seems like we've gone full circle. Is there a real need to go full circle? Not really. It could have ended me in a different place, just like the car stealing mechanic, but I guess I kind of like going full circle more. That certainly makes it easier if I was playing in this area trying to get all the collectibles. Does this area even have any more collectibles left to get? I think the answer may be no on that part. 100% done. So going back to Paradise Sands would be our best bet, which still has some things to do. Like at 52% done. So that's our next move. If we can find a fast travel location to Paradise Sands, that would be helpful. What are the odds that we would find a taxi car? I think the odds are pretty low. I think taxi cars are in the New York Times Square section of the map almost exclusively, and so there's no way I'm gonna get one. So instead I'll just have to opt to take somebody else's car
Police business.
and boost my way as fast as possible. Yeah, there's totally an imbalance. You want to, because I always want to have momentum going, I don't really want to just jump out of a car or quick summon a car, because that takes too long. There's an animation around that where if I could just very quickly hit this, like we can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It takes like 5 seconds to get even close to being able to jump in a car, whereas that would be 5 seconds more than I'd want to spend standing stationary. Alright. There's another thing. Alright, good. I can fix that too. And that's gonna unlock another character token somewhere over in the area. Alright. Over here we've got some things, so it's not really worth it to come back and get that. That's something that we would easily see from a central location. It's way more important. Here's another example of you get to listen to music if you stand in one space next to where music is playing. One building. As soon as you walk to the next building, Danielle Crosley, another named character that plays no role. One would hope that these names of characters are people that actually worked on the game, or people that backed it or something. I don't think this was a Kickstarted backed game by any means, but one would hope that you didn't pay some writer to spend their time writing up names or thinking up names, because that would be really an inefficient use of a writer's time, even if the writer is pretty bad. And in a funny way, a lot of writers aren't good with names anyways. They write generic, stupid names, and then they let the producers who want to put their own mark on the thing change the names. So they'll very often give like really dumb names to characters, just assuming somebody down the line, some junior assistant producer says, hey, let's change the name from Astronaut Tom to Bob from Space or something, and the names that they get as a different choice are usually just as bad as, or if not worse, as what the writers write, but most writers kind of know that happens. And it's not like you really need a great name of a character. Indiana Jones, for example, a state and a last name that's very generic works perfectly fine. Whereas Jean-Luc Picard is kind of an example of going in a weird direction. And the funny thing about Jean-Luc Picard, to reference Star Trek, is that it sounds like a French name. So you would have assumed that he would have had a French actor or French accent, and they tried that with Patrick Stewart, the actor who played Jean-Luc Picard, and I guess maybe at this point still does, since they're bringing him back. And they had him do a French accent for about 5 seconds, and then they said, no, that's so bad. Don't ever do that again. Of course, being set in the future, silly names are a little bit more understandable. Didn't I just beat up that ATM? No. I swear, I just beat up this ATM.
Ouch!
Things are still not scanning as well as I would like them to. How to get up to the top? That is the question. I can certainly get up here, and then I can't really finagle it any higher. Or actually, I think I can finagle it a lot higher. Alright. Before we move, I'm at a point where I can't scan anything. Darn it. Let's come over here and see if... Why would I not be able to scan something? when I open these doors, I guess maybe they don't save that part. Not able to scan anything from over here either. I'm going the wrong direction. Do I have a fast travel location? No. There isn't a fast travel thing here. Seriously.
I'm so glad I moved to LEGO City.
Alright, well, we're down on the ground. Best I can tell. There's a card stealing challenge over here. We'll do that. Oops, hit the button too many times. Now. And this will probably be the last thing we do. We'll just steal this car and see where it takes us.
I'll come back and give you my insurance details later.
Turn around, it says. I have no idea where it wants me to go because I think I have a marker set, and I think the marker is telling me to go a different direction. I guess not. Alright, let's go. So we're going through this bridge section, which I am fairly certain I've gotten everything in this bridge section, of which there was more than you would have realized. Feels like this car would still break, even though I have regenerating hearts on and invincibility on. Seems like it still could get a level of damage done to it. Maybe it's a case of it only can do 1 heart of damage and is invincible after that point. I don't think I've seen any of the cars go below 1 heart of damage. As long as you mostly hit the cars with the front of your bumper, they will. Is that really where we're going? Yep. Yeah, as long as you hit it mostly with the front of the bumper, it just bounces off. That is a great example, though, of instead of having it so that you fail completely if you crash, you just can't. It'd be nice if the game just made it so you can't completely crash and you just get less of a reward the worse you do. Let's go over here. Well, first let's look here. Take a second. 77.7% completed. 241 of 305 characters. 99 of 120 vehicles, 370 of 450 gold bricks. When we come in here and look around, we've unlocked Pat Patterson, Shaky Harry, which I guess is supposed to be Dirty Harry reference. Oh yeah, he was in a cutscene. Like, a lot of characters. Sherlock Holmes reference. I guess there were just a lot of background characters that we didn't really think about or only saw for a second, and really can't switch who you're playing as because you have to play as Rex Fury so that you can pull down any of the orange handle things, of which there's incredibly few of those. At least in LEGO Marvel Superheroes, when you had large creatures like the Hulk that were breaking orange things, There was a nice collection of characters that could do that, and there was a lot more instances in which you needed to do that. Still haven't unlocked any of the other miners, so I imagine all the miner character tokens are in the forested area where we really haven't spent enough time. We've unlocked Troublemaker Tom as a farmer and Troublemaker Phil as a farmer. Why these are farmers, I don't know, but okay. Seems like that you have more instances of Troublemaker people being labeled as farmers than non-Troublemaker people being labeled as farmers. Let's see. Louis Andrew. I don't know if that's supposed to be a Louis Anderson reference or not. And we've got some airplane characters that weren't in any cutscenes, and just a lot of people, a lot of skins here, a lot of skins that we never saw any person. We never saw them walking on the street. We never saw them doing anything. The Musketeer, for instance, like it doesn't make a lot of sense. And I get that the special characters very possibly wouldn't show up in the open world or in some cutscene, but it's rather odd that, to my shaky memory, which is pretty shaky at this point, 99.9% of all these characters were potentially added at the very last second. And I guess that might very well have been the case, that an entirely different team was handling these skins, or they didn't even think there were going to be skins at all, and that might have been the way things boiled down. Guess we got everything now. So, where does that put us now? Give it a second to think. Now we are at 81.0% done. So, this was something that I knew was going to happen. Is once we started just purchasing the tokens and such, the percentages would jump up quite a bit. We still have a considerable amount of stuff to do. We have 64 character tokens throughout the open world. We have 21 vehicle tokens, and we have 80 gold bricks. So we're still not really anywhere close to being finished. There's also a large level of spread as far as where these things are too. So it's not just going to be going to the one area we haven't visited yet and getting everything there. It's going to be running around the entire city. That's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description box. And if you want to support me even further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wishlist. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.